Hi, moguls. Welcome to the show. Today we have a special guest on our show, Sarry Ibrahim. Sarry is the president and CEO of Financial Asset Protection. Sarry is going to show us how to grow safe, predictable, and guaranteed wealth regardless of market conditions. We really need Sarry today. Sarry has helped real estate investors, business owners, and full time employees with creating their own sources of financing while also growing safe and predictable wealth all at the same time and with the same money. Sarry is a guest on several other top podcasts, so we are lucky and happy to have him on our show today. Sarry, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Ibrahim, thank you so much for having me on, and thank you so much for the kind words.
Oh, you're welcome. So, moguls, we have a treat for you. In case you didn't get anything good for Halloween, Sarry is going to discuss safe, predictable, guaranteed wealth. Sarry, so how did you first learn about investing? How did you get your start?
Yeah, definitely. It all started with this book that I read. It's called The Bank on Yourself Revolution by Tamil Yellen. And the book pretty much talks about becoming your own source of financing and growing safe, predictable, and guaranteed wealth for the future. The book is based off of something called the infinite banking concept, or also known as the bank on yourself concept. Both are the same. They just have different marketing behind them. But both of them use a special type of whole life insurance, mainly for building wealth for the future. Now, when people first hear, whole life insurance, they're like, whoa, I thought this was about investing or saving. What does it have to do with whole life insurance? And for those of you who are not familiar, whole life insurance has two main purposes or two main functions. It has the cash value part, and then it has the life insurance part. The cash value part of the policy of the life insurance grows guaranteed. It earns dividends and profits from the insurance company. So pretty much, what that translates into is that your money grows over time, and you always have access to this money regardless of market conditions. So this really opened up my eyes for, if I were to ask myself, where can I put my money that will grow guaranteed? It's definitely here. It's definitely a dividend-paying whole life insurance. Use the infinite banking way or the bank on yourself way. So that's what pretty much comes to it. And then, so I enjoyed this as a client, as a consumer. I enjoyed it, and also the Bank on Yourself program had an agent program that I went through. It was an 8-week rigorous training program, and I became a Bank on Yourself professional, or like an authorized professional, so that way I can help clients and I can help spread the word. And that's what connects us here today. That's what brings us here today.
Okay, so can you walk us a little bit through? So it's insurance. Can you explain, like, step one, you get the insurance and how the dividend works? Because we're new. We're pretty much new here, so we like it in relatable terms a little bit. So how would you take someone, say, if we are an hourly worker, how would we get our dividends and bank on ourselves?
Oh, yeah, sure. So it's important to first know that with the infinite banking concepts or the bank on yourself concept, with these concepts, that we are talking about whole life insurance and not other types of insurance. So for there's 3 different types of life insurance. There's term, universal, and whole life. We're talking about whole life insurance. Also, we're not talking, it has to be from a mutual insurance company. And what that means is it's part of an insurance company that gives its dividends or profits back to the policy owners and not to shareholders. Like stock-owned insurance companies give their profits back to their shareholders, whereas mutual insurance companies give their dividends back to policy owners. So it has to be whole life, and it has to be from a mutual insurance company. Now, with that, there's different ways to fund this. Like, for example, if you work, you have an hourly wage, you make a salary. However the income is structured, a portion of that can go towards the whole life. I've started policies as low as like $300 per month. For example, just to give you an idea, that we could do a policy that's like $300 per month, and then when you're putting the cash into the policy, a portion goes towards the cash value, and a portion goes towards the actual life insurance. And over time, if the policy is properly structured, over time, your cash value will start to grow and outpace what you're putting into it. Meaning that you're starting to get returns on your money from the insurance company, because the insurance company it's a business, it's a for-profit business, and they are using premium dollars, payment dollars to invest in other investments. And because you're a mutual owner of this company, you're getting dividends back or profits back. So over time, as you are allocating money to the insurance company, to your life insurance policy, you're getting dividends, you're getting profits and interest on that money, and it's growing over time. Now, the difference between this strategy and other conventional strategies, like if you had a 401k or 403b or some sort of retirement plan at work or something that you own, most of those plans are invested in the stock market. And the problem there is there's risk involved. And I always, we always talk about not having or not using unnecessary risk. So you want to make sure that you're putting money somewhere that can keep growing regardless of market conditions. And what that means is, let's say, for example, something happens bad in the stock market, like the stock values drop, then that's going to affect your account, your retirement account, which will affect your retirement and the way you live in retirement. Whereas you want to make sure that your money sits somewhere that's safe and grows and is not hindered or affected by outside conditions, outside market conditions. And that's where whole life insurance is, that's how it stands. Whole life insurance companies don't invest in the stock market. They're actually not allowed to invest in the stock market. They can only invest in safer or safe investments. So you want to make sure that your money is there, and there's different ways to fund it. You can fund it monthly, you can fund it annually, you can fund it with one-time payment. A lot of different things you could do, and it all comes down to what the client wants to do and how they want to build, their safe, predictable, and guaranteed wealth for the future.
Okay, so a lot of our investors, we have a lot of 20-year-olds, a lot of 30-year-olds. We even have moguls listening, 40 and 50. We have a variety. So since most of them are new, and if they just wanted to dip their toe to kind of test it out, what would be the most economical way to see if they like this investment? What would be something economical for them to get a start with your program?
Yeah, definitely. So I would say before you even start investing in these policies or start saving, what we can do is we can get on the phone that can give free consultations. There's a lot of content on YouTube and other podcasts that you can listen to get an idea for it, because we strongly recommend that the clients or prospects understand how this works and how it's different from other investments. But definitely, I recommend that you try to get educated as much as possible on this concept. You can reach out to us at any time for a free consultation, and we'll help you. We'll guide you throughout the whole process. We'll also do a financial analysis to make sure that we're doing the right policy for the right person, because people have different needs and wants, and we can't just guess or assume what would be best for somebody. So we have to do a full, thorough financial analysis, and that, of course, is free. And then after that, there's a personalized solution call. That's where we present the solution based off of what we collected during the financial analysis call. And then once we present that, we can go through all the numbers. We screen share over Zoom, where we share our screens. We show the numbers. We show how the policy is going to grow over time. And if it's something they want to do, and if it is something they want to do, there is going to have to be like an underwriting process to go through, so that they can submit the application again without any money down for free. They can submit the policy, and then they can see if they'll get approved for the policy. And then after approval, then we can actually start allocating funds to the policy. To the point is, Maryland, that there's a lot that the financial process can do in the meantime to fill in those gaps of knowledge and kind of to get a feel for this without having to actually invest into the policy steps. And we definitely recommend that they take the time and learn. And we also, again, all our consultations are free. So you can reach out to us as many times as you want, and we'll guide you, we'll show you the different ways these policies are set up. And if it's something that you want to do, if it's something you want to implement.
And now, do you have any stats on how it compares to investments in the stock markets? Like how much your policy has a return on investment compared to stocks?
Yeah, good question. So we pretty much, we only work with mutual insurance companies that have been paying dividends for over 160 years, including through the Great Depression, including through the 2008 market crash, and including through now with the pandemic and the market uncertainty right now. So we only work with insurance companies who have this proven track record of paying dividends to policy owners. So these policy owners have seen an incline in their cash value regardless of market conditions. Even when there is a dip in the market, they've seen their policies grow. Now, we can't say that with the stock market. With the stock market, generally, it's proposed or pitched as 8% return on your money. However, there's other things to consider with that. There is market loss to consider. There are fees involved in the portfolio management. So a lot of things to consider. Based on the policies we've structured and we've helped clients with, we've seen an average around 4 to 5% return on their money, regardless of market conditions, guaranteed every year. Actually, dividends are not guaranteed, but we only work with insurance companies who have been providing dividends for for over 160 years. Again, so pretty much to answer your question, we've seen returns on 4 to 5% of the money compound over time.
Oh, we like compounding. And how is it taxed? How would that be taxed for the investors?
Yeah, really good question. So the growth of your cash value grows tax deferred. And what that means is, let's say you have $50,000 in your life insurance policy in the cash value, and then next year your policy cash value inclines or grows by $10,000. So you now have a total of $60,000 in cash value. You do not, under current tax law, you don't have to report that incline or increasing the cash value. It's tax deferred. You don't have to say I made an extra $10,000 or I earned an extra $10,000 in my policy. It grows tax deferred. And then in a lot of situations, when you go to take that money out of the policy, it's coming out tax free because you've used after tax dollars. So, for example, you have a job, you work in a job, you pay taxes on your money. Now the money is in your bank account and your checking account, and then you use that money from your checking account to pay for the policy. You're using after tax dollars that you already paid taxes on. They go into the policy, they grow tax deferred, and then when you take the money out, you're not paying tax on that. Even if there are gains in the policy, you're not paying taxes on that. Now, this is in most situations, not in every situation. Some situations, you will be taxed on some of the money you take out. But again, that's more of like and I'm not a tax professional. So if taxes are a concern to you, seek a professional, a tax professional. And again, it all comes up to financial analysis that we do to get a better understanding of where the client's at and where they want to go. So the tax benefits, it grows tax deferred, and we take the money out, it's tax free.
And how could someone exit, or if they needed the cash, because we are in a pandemic, and say like next year, if jobs are slow or businesses are closing, how would they be able to take out their money? What is the penalty, or how do they take out their money?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different ways to do this. So, for example, let's say somebody has been building up a policy, right? And they've been, allocating, $300 a month, and let's say, 5 years goes by and they have like $14,000, $15,000 in cash value in their policy, and let's say that they lose their job, and they need cash now from the policy. They can do a couple things. Number one, the insurance companies we work with, they have a lot of flexibility in payments. So instead of continuously paying $300 a month, you can churn off one piece of the policy, and that's flexible, and then reduce your payments maybe down to like $150 per month, depending on how the policy is structured. So the point is you can start reducing how much you're paying into it, and then you can actually borrow from the policy, take out a loan from your policy to use for other expenses. You can even use that loan money from the insurance policy to pay future payments on your policy. You can use that to pay your bills. You can use it for whatever you want, and then you can pay yourself back on your own terms. So a lot of flexibility. Your money is not tied up somewhere, that you can never access it. For every dollar you put in, there's a certain percentage you can take out immediately. And again, it depends on your age. It depends on how much money you put in, and it depends on the insurance company it's a part of. But there is a lot of flexibility involved. You're not tying up your cash. You're simply building a safe pool of cash that you have access to. And here's the cool thing, Marilyn, is that let's say that you did end up borrowing, the same example, like $50,000 in cash value. Let's say you ended up borrowing like $10,000. Your policy still grows and still earns interest on the entire $15,000, even though you borrowed $10,000. And the reason for that is because you did not subtract, $10,000 from $15,000. You borrowed against it. It's like if you have a home and your home is worth, $300,000, and you took out a loan against your home of $100,000, your home is still worth $300,000. You just have an existing loan against it. Same thing in the life insurance example. You're not deducting your cash value, which is very important. The fact that you're not deducting your cash value means that there's no interruption in the growth of your money. Your money keeps compounding and keeps growing, even when you use the money, because you're using it as a loan, and the loan is at a lower rate than your cash value.
Oh, okay. And is there any fees if they take it out? Do they get any fees or penalties for taking money out?
So there's no fees or penalties for taking the money out. You have to pay interest on your money that you borrow. The interest is 5% simple interest. And then again, you can control the payback period and how often you pay those payments back to the insurance company, but there is an interest rate of 5% involved. Now, again, no penalties, no fees. Now, structuring the policy, building up the policy, we're dealing with insurance, and it's a for-profit business. So the insurance company typically in the first couple of years, that's the highest fees in regards to administering the policy or managing the policy for the client in the first couple of years. But over time, your policy compounds and grows. And I've seen, over the years that after the policy growing, I've built policies for clients where, like, for example, they would put in $300 a month for 20 years. And then after 20 years, we set up the policy for them to start getting monthly payments of like 3 times that. So they put in for every dollar they put in for 20 years in a row. After 20 years, they can start taking out money from the policy. They can start taking out 3 times, around 3 to 4 times what they put into the policy, tax-free. So the gains are there. The money will multiply over time. It just takes time for the money to multiply. And the fees are typically the highest in the first couple of years in terms of building up the policy.
Okay, so that makes sense. So it's kind of like a savings account with some fees that will compound, so that the compound will outweigh the fees in the future. Is that what I'm kind of understanding?
Exactly. Yes, precisely.
Okay, yeah, because we're moguls here, but we're beginner moguls, and we want to, put our money where it is the maximum benefit for us, because most of us are just starting. So we want to stretch our money, and we're so happy to have you on the show. And can you take us about how where you went to college and how you started getting excited about investing and learning about making your money grow for you?
Yeah, definitely. So I got my master's in business administration, my MBA from Keller Graduate School in downtown Chicago. And during that time, I was working at Allstate as a consultant, and I was working mostly on like business policies, risk mitigation strategies. And then from there, I started working with health insurance companies. I was a Medicare broker. So I would, for example, have somebody who was a retiree at a company that was like 64 years old, and they were on an employer health plan, and then they were going to merge off, they were going to retire, and then merge off into their own Medicare plan. So I helped them make that transition from the employer plan to their own individually owned Medicare plan. And I did that for a couple of years. And then during that time, one of my Medicare clients asked me if I could help them with life insurance. And he even mentioned, he's like, there's something with life insurance I read somewhere that it has cash value and it builds up over time. And I started doing research for him, and that's how I came across the book, The Bank on Your Solid Revolution by Pamela Yellen. And they read that book and fell in love with the book. The book talks a lot about great strategies. And actually, Marilyn, as a special for the listeners, I will send them a free copy via Kindle of the book, Bank on Your Solid Revolution. If you go to Amazon, it's like $15. But because it's your audience from your show, I will send them the book for free via Kindle. They just have to reach out for a free consultation and then say they came from this show.
Okay, so moguls, so if you'd like your free consultation and get your free book called Bank on Your Self Revolution by Pamela Yellen, Sarry's going to give it to our listeners, and we will have the link below how you can reach out and get your free consultation and get the free book, Bank on Your Self Revolution. We really appreciate that. We love goodies, especially it's Halloween, so we're getting nice treats on this program. Yeah. So, do you have any anything that you want to talk about the stock market, especially since it's November, it's election year, it's winter? Is there any kind of things that you want to comment on? Just our listeners do like to learn about savings and stocks, and just kind of just weighing like what's the difference and which way they should go.
Yeah, definitely. Like, awesome question. So pretty much, nobody knows what's going to happen in the stock market. Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. People can predict certain things or project certain things, but nobody knows what's going to happen. And that's important for the listeners to know, is that for every dollar you earn, there's only 3 things you could do with every dollar you earn. You could spend it, you can save it, or you can invest it. And all 3 of those things are different. Spending is obvious. You're spending the money. Saving is you're protecting it, and you're able to access it again in the future. And then investing it is at risk. And there's a healthy balance between spending, saving, and investing. Now, pretty much, and it's arbitrary. People have different, it's subjective. People have different opinions about this. I recommend that at least 10% of your money should go somewhere that's being saved. I don't want to comment on the spending or the investing aspect, but the saving component, I strongly recommend that you save 10%. And, a long time ago, Marilyn, 80 years ago, 100 years ago, everybody saved 10% of their money. That was like informed. Like everybody just saved their money. They saved 10% of the money. They put it in places that were safe. Nowadays, I think like 60% of Americans don't even have $1,000 saved up in their bank account, and it's not their fault. It's the way that society has become, where we've become very heavily on spending. Income hasn't really gone down. Income is going up. It's correlated with the standard of living. Things are going up. Things are becoming more expensive, and people are making more money as years go on. But people are saving less and less money because they're finding more things to spend on. There's a lot more instant gratification. So I think that it's really important to kind of start building that discipline to save 10% of your money. It's actually really hard to do. It sounds super simple, but it's actually, a lot of people don't save 10% of their money. So you can use this whole life policy that I've been talking about this whole time. You can use it as a way to save 10% of your money. So if you make $100,000 a year, you can get a policy that, is $10,000 a year that you can pay towards, and that'll almost like, in a way, force you to save for the future, because it'll build the discipline for you. It'll help you allocate the funds towards it. So definitely. And as far as what you mentioned earlier with the elections and what's going on, of course, with the pandemic and the elections, there's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now. Nobody knows what's going to happen. I think it's really crucial. It's very, very important for you to put money somewhere that is not affected by outside conditions. Because it's too much to guess what's going to happen. Like, if we keep bouncing money around, trying to pretend that we know what's going to happen, nobody knows what's going to happen. It's too risky. Instead, you can divert away from all of that and put your money somewhere that grows guaranteed and that is not affected by whoever's, whether it's a Democrat in office or Republican, or what happened, or if the coronavirus increases numbers. No matter what happens, your money will be protected. And I think that's, if the audience can take away something from that, that's something to learn or to consider.
Well, this is really terrific information. So our moguls now know that there's a difference between saving and investing, and that they should definitely be saving up for retirement, especially in this uncertainty of time. And we really appreciate you coming on the show. So thank you. And moguls, you can learn more about saving for your future by going to Sarry Ibrahim's website, finassetprotection.com, and check more of his links in our podcast summary. Thank you for coming on the show. And moguls, have a great day. And remember, we are not a financial advisor, so always consult your financial advisor and your tax accountant. Thank you.
Thank you.